Hi guys, hope you're doing well. It's your girl Jennifer with another very interesting conversation. Welcome to Against All Odds. Have you heard people talk about who is who in the society? I believe you've heard that term used quite often. And commonly, when they say if you know the who is who, most of the time they refer to people who are affluent, people in positions of recognition, and people who have a say, let me use that word, have a say in the society. But today I want to take this conversation further and help you to understand that the who is who in the society could mean a lot of things. So today, and I'll give you a very practical example. I come from Kenya, and so whatever I want to talk about today, I want to relate from my background in Kenya because it will make sense when I give this scenario. So today I want us to talk about a guy called Japuosh. And Japuosh is this guy. I met him while working in Korogosho. Korogosho is one of the largest slums in Kenya. I happened to do my internship in Kenya and in this slum in particular. I was working for a health center for the church, the Redeemed Gospel Church, and they have one health center in Korogosho. So I got my internship there, and definitely growing up in Kenya, I know about slums. I had seen in the news, I had heard things in the news about slums and the state of deprivation. Okay, at this point, let me not assume everybody knows what slums are. So slums are informal settlements, and they're mainly in Africa. I think there are some in Asia as well, but yeah, mainly there are big slum dwellings in Africa, and Kenya has, I think Kibera is the largest slum in Africa, and it is in Kenya. So yes, they are very informal settlements. They're very deprived. People live like in makeshifts. Like you cannot find well-built stone or storied houses in slums. You will find these makeshifts built with wood. Sometimes, if you're lucky, get iron sheet houses. Some are mud houses, like they're really very informal houses. The lack of basic amenities, like even things like toilets. It's not a very interesting place to live. But unfortunately, many people find themselves in such places. So I happened to get this internship in this place. I didn't know that this health center was in the heart of the community and of the slum. So for me, I just went in because I knew it was a project of the church and the church I'm affiliated to. So it wasn't any big deal. And I want experience, right? And as much as it is in a slum, if people work there, then it's safe enough to go there. So I happened to go and start my internship there. Clearly, other than what I knew in the news and the people like who I had talked to get me this place, to secure me this internship, all they told me about is like, yeah, it's an okay place. We will take care of you. Don't worry. So I went. And the first day I got to my internship place, I was well dressed, just like I dressed like I'm going to any normal place. And I remember the first time I got to that place, this lady looks at me And she tells me, Jennifer, you will be mugged. And I'm like, you work here. Why would you tell me that? And she told me, the way you're dressed, the way you look, everybody knows you're new in this community. And that already attracts attention to you. And I promise you, Jennifer, you will be mugged. That is day one and the first few minutes or hours of me getting to my internship place. So you can imagine how my heart was pumping and throbbing. And I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, I need to be here. I don't remember how long we were doing internship. It wasn't less than 8 weeks. So I knew I was going to be there for some time. And I'm wondering if this is already a few minutes and hours into my internship, how is it going to be? So then this lady tells me, don't panic. So because I don't know her, I don't talk much but I kept on thinking about that, what she's told me. So by the end of the day, I realized this is a staff who works here. And then when I introduced myself, told her my second name, she realized that me and her come from the same community. So now when she realized we come from the same community, I will be here to work, because at first she didn't know why I'm there. Now when she knew that I'm there to work, then she pulled me aside and told me, Jennifer, this is a slum area. And then that's when I realized she's one of the security people. She was a lady, but her role in the organization, she was a security guard. She didn't wear a uniform, and she appeared like anybody else. But I think I will make a special video about this lady. So she pulled me aside and talked to me and told me, Jennifer, this is a slum, and dressing here is very important because you do not want to attract any attention to you. And she told me, this health center where you've come to work in particular, the people who come to this health center is here because of what has been happening in this community. Jennifer, the things you will see when you're here, it will make you like think harder. But let's do the basic. Many people have come here, they have worked, and they've been fine. So I will just help you. So tomorrow, when you're coming to work, make sure you don't dress up. Just find any like very ordinary and basic clothes. You see, just like that. And then when you come to work, I was supposed to always report to work at 9. She told me, do not come here a minute after 9. Make sure you come to work anytime between 7:30 to about 8:45 there. That window of time. And this is the reason she gave me. She told me this is the time when most of the primary school kids have gone to school. But this nursery school people and business people, this is around the time they start opening their businesses around this area. So there's a lot of traffic of people. And in the slum, you use traffic of people to your advantage. So if you come around that time when there's traffic, it is a good time because it assures you will get here safely. If you come at 9 and after 9, that is a quiet time. People have cleared there's now people have opened their shops, so they're in their shops, they are settling, so there will be not a lot of traffic. So that is the time people who mug others in that community, that is the time they take advantage. And so when you come at this time, they definitely know you're new. You don't understand how this place operates. And the only people who walk around that time, it's either those people who are mugging or the very local people who understand that community because they know each other. Whoa. And I was like, what? Then she also told me there are 2 routes. So she asked me which route I used to get there, and I told her the route. So she told me, keep to that route. Never use this alternative route, because there was an alternative route that was shorter. So she told me, never use that route, because that route will land you in trouble. Whoa. And then she told me, when you're here, because I had gone there to work as a community health officer. So she told me, when you are here, never be in a room with any person, any local person here, like any patient here, the 2 of you. Whether it's a woman, always make sure a regular staff is with you. And if you see there's a chance of you being left in a room with a regular, with any patient that you do not know, just find a way and make sure you are not in that room. I was like, what? So yes, I believe you can imagine the fear and the panic. I was kind of thinking, like, should I even come here? I should just cancel this internship, because for me, this is enough reason to get me so worried. But anyhow, I decided, let me do my best and do this. Luckily, at that time, I had started trying to keep short hair, so it like I just tried. But have you ever, like, you have good clothes, you have never worked in a slum, so have you ever thought of going to choose your clothes and think about this cloth that is not really nice? Because which cloth is not nice for a slum dweller? Like, so dressing up for me was really hard. I had to change my phone and carry a very basic and ordinary phone. I had try to look for like a handbag, go on, like, try to make it dirty, try to make it look funny, stuff like that. So anyway, fast forward, I am into this, I survive, and so fast forward to about a month and a half into the internship. We had a manager, like the person, a supervisor I would call him, who used to run that health center. So this guy, his name was Leo. Other people in the West, you call him Leo, but in Kenya, we call them Leo. So his name was Leo. I think it's good for me to mention his name because he was one very influential person to my life. So this guy, because now I've gotten to know the community, like the staff I work with, and the environment, and have a little glimpse of understanding of it. So this guy, because he used to be very busy, he used to do a lot of work in the community, so sometimes you would hardly see him. So this time, because now I've gotten to know him, so one day he tells me, Jennifer, this is a very insecure place, but we have survived, because he'd worked there for, I don't know, over 7, 10, close to 10 years. So he told me, this is a very insecure place, but today I want to introduce you to somebody so that in case of anything, you make sure you call this guy. I don't know why in his wisdom he thought of that. So he told me, yeah, I'm going to introduce you to the guy. So he picks up his phone and makes a phone call. When he makes a phone call, after a few minutes, all I remember hearing was this very loud motorbike. Parks in the compound, and then I see this guy coming, and he was dressed in Kenya we call them, I don't know whether everywhere else that's how you call them, we call them combat. They look like the army clothes, but they are not, you're not in the army, they're just normal ordinary clothes that are sold to civilians, they can wear, but they are not military clothes, so they look like military clothes. So this guy was dark, this guy was tall, and he was averagely built. Do you know people who come into a place and you can sense his presence, like the way he walks, the boots he's wearing, the clothes he's wearing, like the motorbike he's just come with? And I was like, whoa, who's this guy, And so immediately, then this little guy comes and calls me and says, oh, Jennifer, come. The guy I wanted to introduce you to is here. So I go. And the guy I had seen in the combat clothes, it's him. And he says, Jennifer, this is Japuosh. And Japuosh, this is Jennifer. So he tells, Leo tells Japuosh who I am and what I am doing there. And then, yeah, Japuosh and I, we start like getting to know each other. So what language are we speaking? We're in the slum, so we are speaking Sheng. And this time, Sheng is a mix of English and Swahili. So, yeah, and Japuosh has this even a voice, like his voice is loud, his voice is, can I call it strong? But like, yes, it has power and authority. And so, do you know what Leo tells me? Leo tells me, if today you wanted anybody's head in a bag, this guy would get you that head. And I'm thinking, is that for real? Then Japuosh tells me, Jennifer, relax. Let this guy not scare you. I don't do that anymore. And I'm like, what's that? And then Leo tells me, yes, this guy you see here, he's one of our community mobilizers. And we do not do anything in this community without Japuosh knowing, because Japuosh is our security. And I'm like, okay. And then he tells me, if Japuosh was not our security and part of our security team, this health center would not be here. And I'm like, whoa. So, Leo decides to give me a background of who Japuosh is. And this is when now he tells me, Japuosh used to be one of the baddest. Let me use that word. He was a leader of the criminal gang that used to terrorize people in Korogosho. And he says he started it in his teen years. So he started, and in the slums, you join gangs and you rise the ranks. So he rose the ranks till he was the topmost guy, and he was the leader of the gang. And now, when you get to that level, you do not mug in the slums. You're too big for the slums. So you've graduated from knives, then you've gone you've graduated to guns, and this time you're not mugging people within the slums or the environs of the slum. You have gone to like the high-end estates. And that is to be like now in Kenya, that is the Runda, those big Lavington, those places, but mainly Runda. So that's those places, he told me specifically they would target the rich Asians. And that's the people they would mug. And if you cooperate, they steal from you and leave you intact. If you do not cooperate, they never had any options. They would kill you. And he did it for years. For years. And so I'm thinking, okay, if you did it for years, so what's different now? Then says later he reformed. And what made him reform is because most of his friends they were in the gang together, most of them had been killed. Because they would go for a mission, they come less one man, another mission they go, and like that. So they continued reducing, till one time he realized, you know what, I'll be next. And now, by that time he has settled, he has a family, and then he asks himself, is there, because remember he started it as a teen. Now he's grown, he's matured, and then definitely once you mature, you start thinking deeply because your brain has also matured. So he started rethinking his involvement in crime, and he decided to change and reform. And in his reformation, that's when he decided, because I need to get out of this thing completely. Other than that, I will keep on going back and forth. So he decided, for me never to go back to crime, I need to start fighting crime within this community. And that's how Japuosh now became this community mobilizer. But I'm talking about the who is who. So, when I was learning about community mobilization, there's something we call community entry strategies. When you're going into a certain community or into a certain environment, there is a strategy you need to use to enter that community. For example, you can use like key informants strategy. This is a strategy where you can have somebody go and live in that community, get involved with the community, and get you information about that community. The other way you can do is using focus groups, interviews, like you interview people, what happens in this community, get to find out that information. There's also another way of like using community leaders, like you enter into the society through the leaders. Maybe if you know the local chief, the administrators, so you establish a relationship with them and they come and they introduce you into the community. So there are different strategies. So I want to talk about this strategy where you use the leaders and the influential people, because that is where the who is who I'm talking about here matters. And I think that is one of the most powerful strategies of entering a community. So now I've told you how the background of Japuosh. So Japuosh changes and transforms and reforms and decides now to do something for the community. Because this guy has been in crime and he knows all the things they used to do, then he's the best person to fight crime, because he knows what gets people into crime and he knows how to talk to those people and what strategies will help fight crime. So remember, one, he has been the top leader of the gang. So nobody else like roars in that community if he's not speaking through Japuosh. So when Japuosh decided to change, the first thing he started doing was going to every person he knew that was a gang member, these petty guys, and he started telling them, I need you to reform, I need you to leave crime. And he's a very authoritative guy. He said, you need to leave crime. Otherwise, I'll take you down myself. And take you down means now, because now by that time, he's started to work with the authorities to fight crime, started to work with organizations and stuff like that. And so those people that needed to reform, because probably didn't have money, they started getting new business opportunities, like everything. And that is not what I'm wanting to really talk about, what he did and everything. I just want you to see what kind of a guy, because now he knows the ins and outs of crime. Now he had decided to reform, and he's the best person to use. So why am I talking about the who is who? I am talking about the who is who because Japuosh, when I was introduced to Japuosh, this is what I was told. I was told nothing runs in this community without Japuosh. And this, then he said, he told me, did you hear his motorbike, the sound it has? That in itself is a signature. Anybody in this community knows that distinct sound of Japuosh's motorbike. So if you're somewhere trying to mug somebody and you hear his motorbike sound anywhere, that means wherever you are, you need to stop. Because when you mug, when you commit that crime, word will get to him and he will fish you out. So his motorbike in itself is a warning. His presence anywhere is a warning. You get? And so I was told if you're somewhere and like now, because remember I was told to come between 8:30 and 8:45. So I was told, in case you're late, just call Japuosh. Just call him. And some things you can be told and you don't know how these things play out. So one day it happened. So one day I got late. And I was like, what do I do? So I rang him. Guess what Japuosh told me? Because he has a motorbike, I expected him to come and pick me up. He told me, where are you? I told him where I was. He told me, start walking. Start walking. Can you imagine somebody is not seeing you and he tells you just start walking and just come? And I'm thinking, how do I come? And I'm with him on phone. He's telling me, don't worry, just come. Keep coming. I promise you, I walked from the bus stop where I dropped off, from the bus stage to the organization, and it was not a close place. It was not a close distance. It was like a long walking distance because I used to have to pick the hired motorbikes, but because now I've come at a late time, I am scared even of the motorbike riders. So then when he tells me to walk, then I just decide, okay, let me walk. Japuosh never showed up, but I promise you, I walked safely from the bus stage to the health center. That is incident number one. When my supervisor, all the way from Uganda, came to supervise me during my internship, that day I was scared. I was scared to death because I'm bringing somebody to a community that she doesn't know about. It was a lady, and I was wondering, how do I bring her here? Definitely my supervisor will dress up well, everything, because she's coming to work. And that time I told Japuosh, no. On this particular day, this person is coming, so I need you to pick us up. When Japuosh picked us on his motorbike, when we were on the motorbike, you'd hear when you just pass, mkubwa, big boss, everybody. And you would see even how people respect like his bike. You would see the attention his bike brings. And that in itself is signature. Like, mark these people you're seeing. Like him just having us on his motorbike is a clear communication that whether we are on his motorbike or not on another day, you shouldn't dare. And I was like, how do these things happen? So what was I trying to say? Who is who in any society exists. And the who is who may not be the affluent people, the rich people you think. There are people who have another greater influence because sometimes of where they've been, who they are connected to, their positions, everything. You can be a who is who for various and very many reasons. Now, let's bring this into our working environment or into the environments we go into. When you go to work and get into this job, do you ever think about who is who in that organization you're joining? Do you ever think about you going into an organization and you've been given the manager's position, but there's a cleaner down there, there's a janitor down there, there's a secretary down there who could be the who is who in that organization, and you don't know, and you could come into that organization and start belittling them. But if you are going to be fired, probably it will be the cleaner who will get you fired. And that cleaner will not have to go and badmouth you and go behind your back and backstab. No. I'm just talking about this person could be so well connected and have a lot of influence that their word could bring you down. Or you're going to work in a community and this person lives in that community, and whatever you're going to offer to that community could be accepted or rejected because of one word this janitor says, and says, no, we have a new boss that is not nice. Just that statement alone could make your business, your strategy somewhere just go down. What am I trying to say in this conversation today? Anytime you get into a place, try to find out who is who. And don't go thinking that who is who in that environment are those people who have money, they are very affluent, very loud, outspoken, and anything. They could be just an ordinary person like you and me. They could be those people that you ignore. It could be that gateman. It could be that clerk, that accountant. These people are there in any society, and they have their influence. Do not underestimate them. They can bring you up, and they can also bring you down. To change the world, you need to change your mind. This is Against All Odds. Catch you in the next video. Bye.